Can the artist's way really take me from burnt out author to bold creative in just 12 weeks? Join me week by week as I navigate my way out of the creative void. So welcome everyone, I'm Erica Deary, and this week we're recovering our sense of autonomy. Remember, we are doing the artist's way. I guess if you watch all the other videos, you already know. But this week felt heartfelt, I have to say. Week 11 felt like, when you are going to therapy and you just have 2 sessions left and you know that this is like almost going to the end. It felt like being a baby bird and your wings are kind of like almost ready and you're just seeing that the mom bird is just gonna push you from the nest because it's like you're ready to fly, but then she can't fly with you, right? It feels like when Harry Potter finally he finally found Sirius Black and he found a place where he belonged, someone in his family, someone who got him, only to lose him as part of the story. But this is what happens with you and I, with artists, right? We are the protagonists, and sometimes the hero in the movie needs to go it alone to face the thing alone. And this is what it feels like that. I've been held for 11 weeks and now I'm seen and I'm gently being released into the wild. This is what it felt like. Okay, so the chapter opened with, I guess the way I would say what it is, it's like a letter of acceptance. It is written in the first person, so I really, if you get the book, I really recommend you to get it out, to read it out loud, because it's gonna make everything we've learned in the previous weeks click. If you read it aloud, it's so beautiful. Because I feel like the previous weeks we have been becoming artists, and this one is telling you that you are an artist. For me, there was a beautiful part where it felt really heartfelt and where it acknowledges that, yes, our brains are a little bit wired differently. If you're an artist and you grew up maybe not wanting exactly the same things that other people want, and you just have all these ideas, and then people think that, oh, you have really weird ideas, and it's like, well, I'm finally finding someone who gets me. So the chapter also gives us a reminder of what happens when we neglect our inner child and our inner artist. I picked up a few sentences in that section because I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. I'm an artist. As an artist, I may need a different mix of stability and flow from other people. I may find a 9-to-5 job steadies me and leaves me freer to create, or I may find that a 9-to-5 drains me of my energy and leaves me unable to create. Being true to the inner artist often results in a work that sells, but not always. I have to free myself from determining my value and the value of my work by my work's market value. The idea that money validates my credibility, it's very hard to shake. To me, this part, it really shook me to the core because obviously, having written and self-published 6 children's books and selling about 1 or 2 a month, it's really soul crushing, especially when you see all the work that has been happening in the background. But it's kind of like the fact that Julia is putting it here in writing for you to read. It's just validating that you don't attribute your artist's value by the sales that you are able to make. I think it's something I'm gonna have to read over and over and over again. There's another part here that made a lot of sense. To a large degree, my life is my art, and when it goes dull, so does my work. As an artist, I write whether I think it's any good or not. I shoot movies other people may hate. As an artist, my self-respect comes from doing the work. 1 performance at a time, 1 gig at a time, 1 painting at a time. As an artist, I cannot allow my emotional and intellectual life to stagnate, or the work will show it. As an artist, I can literally die of boredom. The more I nurture my artist child, the more adult I am able to appear. Ignoring my artist means grinding depression. To me, I have to say, as someone who ignored her artist for such a long time, it is not wrong for you to want to have a life that has a little bit more sass than doing what everybody else is doing. I'm here to validate that for you, and Julia does it beautifully in the book. There's another section where Julia talks about exercising, about the importance of moving our bodies. And she gives a lot of examples of people who use exercise as something that helps them disconnect from a problem and to arrive to a solution. And look, I get it, right? We are artists. We ended up here because we were not really good at sport. Like every person that is an artist, they're like, oh, I'm so uncoordinated. Probably the only coordination was dancing, gymnastics, that sort of thing. But like catching and kicking a ball, at least that was not something I could do, right? So the thought of doing exercise, it's like probably not as appealing as the thought of doing art. But what Julia proposes here is that even 20 minutes of walking a day can help us decompress the mind, can help us just see reality, see new things. You know, sometimes we can get so embedded in the work, in the screen, that we forget that there's a real world out there that, yeah, it's worth to explore and it's worth to take a walk. For me, I have to say I'm grateful that I have Maxi because he makes me go for walks. The last part of the book, she talks about success and about, okay, if you achieve success, that is great. But when you achieve it, and as part of our normal being human beings, once we get there, there doesn't exist anymore, and there's going to be a new there, right? So it's more about like understanding and acknowledging that success might end up being this moving goalpost, and that we also need to be careful to, okay, if I have something that was successful, that I don't try to replicate the same thing, right? It's like all these artists who become successful for this one thing until it gets dull and tiring, right? So you as an artist need to continue, even if you become super successful, to continue giving yourself the permission to try something different. And especially in this day and age when we are living for the algorithm, and it's only the algorithm rewards you if you publish more of the same and the same and the same content, it is very difficult to achieve here. But what she's saying is like, do not box yourself into that one thing, because that, number one, is going to kill your soul, but also are you doing it because this is the art that you really want to be doing? And I guess last but not least, the book talks about building an artist altar. Finding that space in your house where you can have, it could be, a couch near a window, or it could be a study, or it could be a pot in your garage, whatever it is, to have that physical space where you can visually see, like, this is my art space. And she says to fill this space with things that make you happy, things that are visually appealing, maybe colors, maybe cushions, things like that. Something that is going to remind you that that art pad is there for you. And she really mentions rituals, like the rituals to get you in the mood to start. And I think she kind of acknowledges that, yes, a lot of us grew up with religious rituals that sometimes it just makes us very cringy to think about the word ritual. But if we set up our own rituals which come from our control, or something that works for us, it can actually do wonders for us to be able to create our art. Okay, now let's go to the check-in. Let's do week 11 check-in. First question, how many days this week did you do your morning pages? Regarding your U-turns, have you allowed yourself a shift toward compassion, at least on the page? I think I did my morning pages probably about 5 times during the week. I think, to be honest, I was a little bit worried with real world things that have nothing to do with art, just like some problems that I have to solve in my personal life. And I think I was preparing a lot for that. So in my morning pages, I wrote a lot about, I guess, how angry I feel that I have to defend myself. Yeah, I had a lot of really heightened emotions. So I feel like today I'm in a state of having to let go, let go of things that I cannot control, even though they hurt me, I guess, if that makes sense. Um, did you do your artist date this week? Have you kept your emphasis on fun? What did you do and how did it feel? Okay, let's have a look at the artist date. So, for my artist date, I went to a Swedish furniture shop, which I will not name because they're not sponsoring this video. My dream is to renovate my kitchen to make it beautiful and more modern. So, I'm in the early stages of sorting out how much is it actually going to cost. This is so I can first put an amount in my mind and don't have a heart attack when I start getting quotes. And second is because I want to start manifesting it, so I will definitely be putting it in my vision board. I was surprised of the variety of finishes, but I'm not sure about the way it felt. The materials felt like everything was plastic. I don't know if it was me or if it was the light or the actual materials, but it felt a bit weird, like inauthentic. I don't know how to explain it. In saying that, they always do a really good job at styling the furniture and the kitchens. Oh, and big tip, they actually had the price displayed in the different kitchens. And something that caught my eye was like they were offering 50 months interest free. But when you multiply 50 times the number, the monthly number, it was way more. So it's actually not free, if you know what I mean. It just, I don't know. I don't get why they say interest free, but if you're in the market for renovating a new kitchen, maybe just make sure to do a double multiplication so you know exactly how much you're paying. Anyway, it was good to go as I ended up purchasing some cushions and something to maximize my pantry storage. So I guess I can call that a win. Did you experience any synchronicity this week? What was it? Do you know how TikTok has a lot of different, the algorithm is so good. And well, there's this girl who has this sacred codes or sacred numbers. And 520 is the one that you get to get extra money. Like you get like to get like surprise money kind of thing. You have to do it like say it 45 times. So the way you do it is 3 times in each phalange. And so you can do the 45, right? So it's like 520, 520. Anyway, I just did it because I just really wanted a win. And I kid you not, the next day, no, the next minute, I get an email that I'm getting a refund for something I applied for a long time. I am so skeptical and cynic sometimes that I'm like, oh, this was like a coincidence. And I was like, well, it's only like $60. Like, don't get me wrong, very grateful, very good. But I'm like, yeah, I kind of like need more. And anyway, I did it again. And then the next day I just got notification that my salary is going to be increased by the CPI. Look, it's not massive amounts, but it definitely helps when everything seems to be keep going up. And I'm a single mom, so I feel like I have to keep my head above water like all the time. So I felt like the water was here. Now I feel like it's here. Like now I feel like it's not going to be life changing money, but it's something that I can count on, that I can just put that into starting saving a little bit. I'm going to pretend it's not there, it doesn't exist. Hopefully, I don't have to use it because I really want to top up my emergency fund and be more, more responsible with my finances. Because how can I be an artist if I'm not taking care of myself, right? And I think financial literacy is like super important. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna count that because as you know, I feel like I was not seeing any serendipity in my life. So I feel like I'm gonna count this as a tick. Were there any other issues this week that you consider significant for your recovery? Describe them. I feel like this week, so week 11, I'm recording this like 2 weeks after week 11 because I was really stressed out. I had to do I'm just gonna say like a mediation, right? So this is like so you don't go to court, and I feel like the mediator was so harsh on me. It really, like the mentors, like it really sucked my happiness and my joy. And then that day was the day that I get to pick up my kids, and I was late because the school didn't send us the right
the right time. There were like too many events, and they always do this thing at the same time. But this time they did it earlier to kind of coincide with the other event. And I was there, and my kids were gonna be in the front, right? Like it's not like all the time. And I was just like bawling, like I had to hold it. Um, and I feel like that kind of set the tone for the whole week. So I guess I'm gonna call it week 11A, week 11 with kids. It kind of felt like I was just constantly being attacked and constantly doing the wrong thing. And yeah, I feel like this week is gonna be funny because it's the last week, right? So this is the week where I'm gonna have to like let go, let go of this program, but also let go of some things that, as much as I know I'm right, I can't control. Um, so yeah, it's I don't know, like I feel like I'm finally getting into a place where I'm being happy again, and then somebody comes and punches me because they cannot take no for an answer, and they have to make a big deal out of it. This has nothing to do with art, so yeah, over to the end of the video.
Oh my God, thank you so much for watching. I can see the finishing line, which is really great. And if you want to get this book, remember you can get it in the link below. I get a small commission at no extra cost to you. Honestly, have a look at this. I have highlighted it so much. I have made so many notes. I honestly feel like if there is one book that is genuinely going to change your life, is this one. Um, it's funny because when famous people get asked about that, I used to not have a response because I'm like, oh, I read a lot of stories, but have they changed my life? No, they've made me either smarter or I've learned something, but it's not like it's changed my life. I think this book genuinely has the ability to change your life. Um, so yeah, remember, if you buy it from the link, I get a small commission at no extra cost to you. And if you like this program, if you've been doing the 11 weeks so far, tell me, how did you find this chapter? How do you find the acceptance letter? Were there any things that clicked for you? Let me know in the comments. And remember, if you have an artist friend, share. If you want to keep posted about the things that I'm doing now with my art, because I have a couple of ideas. I don't know if I want to, maybe let me know in the comments as well. Do you want to learn about writing and publishing a children's book? Do you want me just to maybe go through more books, like leave the book type of situation? I feel like really like the concept of learning something and then making that a reality. And I think this space is just lovely because it really has helped me grow a lot. So yeah, I can't wait what happens next week. And I can't wait to see you next week. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow me on socials, and yeah, share it with your friends. And don't forget to catch up with me next week, because next week we are recovering our sense of faith. See you soon.